He seen
The
me
story
and
of
he told me that
BMF's
later, that
first
it was
lady.
love at first sight. He said that he was going to get me.
This is DDS, Detroit Raw.
Tonesa Tony Welch, Southwest T's former longtime girlfriend and first lady of the Black Mafia family, is one of several queen pins. Born to a middle-class family in Detroit, Welch became entranced at a young age by the money and power a street life could provide. By 19, she was running with BMF and living the life of a Hollywood star. This is Tony Welch, Detroit Raw.
We became friends, so I confided in him a lot, of what was going on. I'm thinking in my head that people didn't know or didn't see it or didn't understand it. So he was somebody that I confided in, that I trusted. Yeah, and that's how that happened. But we didn't start a relationship until years later.
When it comes to BMF, balling is a habit. Tonesa said, I tell people all the time, it's an addiction. I had to have it. I had to have this money. I had to do this. It was crazy. It was like I was on a high. You're on a high just doing something, making moves and getting away with it. It was the whole power of it all, the way people looked at you. But once you came down,
I was exaggerated, but I mean, when you look back, and I look back at some of the things, it wasn't that. I blew a lot of money though. I'm saying, like a fool with money. I'm like, the things that I think about, the things that I had, the things when you look back at it. But I like I said, ill-gotten gains. Like it was off of people hardship. So I'm okay. I feel good about my life now. That everything I do now, I work hard for.
the money came easy, but at a cost. After her arrest, Welch was sentenced to 57 months in prison, a far cry from the lofty sentence her then-boyfriend, Southwest T, received, but long enough to hurt. She'll never forget the moment those prison doors shut, the loud metal frame slamming behind her, ensuring her freedom was about to become a distant memory.
Well, I pleaded to 7, but what happened was when I went to court to plea and get my sentence accepted by the judge changed it. The judge said he didn't feel that that I did in this time enough to accept that plea. He said, I'm not going to accept that plea. He said, I feel like you were a victim to your circumstances, all the abuse. I mean, it's public record that he said, you know what? Because I think it's the burning bed syndrome. I can't think of what that law was. He gave me a extra time off of that. I got 18 more months off of that. I ended up being sentenced to 57 months.
After the First Lady's arrest, she had time to think. How do you go from 1,000-count sheets and king beds, flying private jets, to sleeping in prison? It was the lowest of the low, but she had to go through it. She had to have that crash, she stated. Welch was eventually released in 2012. Now she's actually grateful for her time behind bars because it changed her life. She was on such a high, she didn't know when or how it would ever end.
But broke. I had, only thing I had, I said, nothing. People had ransacked, took everything. I had a house. I had said, the judge let me keep a house that I had. And, because I didn't buy it with the proceeds of that. I ended up buying a house. I said, if I have anything else, I'll have a home to come to when I got out of prison. At least my sons, when he get out of college here, they'll have somewhere to come.
Out of all the prisons the First Lady could have been sent to, her first prison was in the desert. So it came to her. This is why you're here. You're going to reflect on it. You're going to live in it. You're going to understand what was going on in your life. You're destroying yourself and others, and then her family. Even though I thought I was doing a good thing for them, she said, that wasn't a good thing, bringing them into the life. Now that she's released and had time to reflect on everything, she's moving forward in a positive way, giving back to the community.
It wasn't just my son. It was just so much. It was other things that, when you get into a relationship, and we made each other promises that we wouldn't do to each other. And he broke a lot of those promises. So it wasn't just really my son. It was just a lot of different things that could have happened that shouldn't have happened. That, I just thought that my life would have been set up differently. We always had plans. Well, if something happened, when I came into his life, I felt like I made sure your kids was good. I told him, it was no insecurities that I had at all. I wanted his family to have what I had. That's why I started helping him. He wanted to help his mother. He wanted to, okay, I'm gonna help you so you can help your mother. You need to get your kids out of their grandma's house. They need to go to this. They need to do this. And it was just so much that I was blind. I was so blindsided by the time I got to prison and listening to all these wiretaps. And that's why that I was mad, because you would do somebody like, I felt like he did me so wrong. Not in just about my son, just the whole thing, that we made promises no matter what. I felt like you were my friend. You somebody I told my deepest secrets to, and that trust was just so, when I was listening to the tapes and listening to people, and I was out there by myself, and everybody was going against me. Everybody was going against me. Even people that I helped was going against me. And I felt like I blamed him for that. I felt he didn't protect me. Have been long for the ride. When I met all of them, I was already made in my level. I had money. I put them on. I came on. I didn't come for the ride. I was an asset. I wasn't no liability.
This is BMF's First Lady, Tonesa Welch, Detroit Raw.
Out of the whole time he was in the streets, he's never killed anyone. Never, people running off, people doing this and people doing that. He wasn't that type of person, let alone kill people, that I'm going to kill my brother. It's crazy. It was a crazy thought. I think he was just venting